Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview covering VCT America Stage 2. For this occasion, I'm here accompanied once again by Valyn, the IGO for G2, coming off of a third place finish in Masters Shanghai, but are looking to bounce back in Stage 2. So, Valyn, really appreciate you taking the time once again for another quick conversation during the season. Starting off on there, Masters Shanghai. I mean, how do you how have you guys kind of been um, moving on from that to now setting your sights back onto VCT Americas for stage two?
Yeah, so after Shanghai, it was a beautiful experience, and we came home back to LA, and there's about a 15-hour time difference from Shanghai to LA, and so it was really tough at the beginning. We just took maybe like 4 or 5 days to just chill, no practice, and it was a big sacrifice because we knew that we're on a bit of a short time period in order to implement Haven back into our map pool, work on the duels changes that came out, and just like refine our gameplay a bit. But it was a needed sacrifice just to kind of reset the boys, get the sleep schedules better. And so from here on out, we've been practicing full focus on trying to come out with this win in week one. And eyes are locked on qualifying for champions right now. Uh, I would say that the tournament that we just had gave us a big confidence boost within the team. So we know what we're capable of now. And so we expect to be in top form for the split two.
Yeah, it was a very great showing from you guys, and especially for looking at you and best performance international, obviously, for you, looking at the team finishing third place. I mean, sort of still staying on that front for a little bit longer. I mean, what do you think enabled you guys to just perform so well? Yes, I do say this, knowing the fact that you guys um, lost in that lower bracket finals, but still, still pretty good showing, but still kind of so helped you guys just play well.
Yeah, I would say um, going through the group stage in the fashion that we did, being having like a 9-3 comeback versus T1, going against one of the strongest opponents. I had an interview before Shanghai. I said Heretics was going to be one of the best. Going into a Heretics win, um, after that and then qualifying for playoffs, I would just say we had a very good start. Um, and obviously better than our previous showing right away because we came out with a win the first game. So um, yeah, once we made the playoffs, I would just say there was a bit of a momentum boost and a bit of a chip on my shoulder because PRX decided to pick us first round, out of all the teams. So I was like, all right, you guys want to pick us? Like, let's get it moving then. So we were very locked in for that game. Game plan was good. Coaches prepared us well, and yeah, I would say the PRX game was also another big like, damn guys, like we're pretty good. Maybe we have a shot to win this whole thing. Like PRX is one of the favorites. And then we face a familiar face again in Heretics, and we come out with probably the biggest comeback that's ever happened in VCT, 2-11 on map 2 when we lost the map 1. So it was looking pretty grim, but we closed it out, and now we're in Mercedes-Benz Arena. And, yeah, it was just such a pleasure to experience that, man, being in front of 18,000 people, regardless of, you know, losing a Gen G, losing a Heretics, like, just making it that far was special for us, and it was by far the best competitive experience I've ever had in my life.
What do you feel has been like the single biggest takeaway that you saw from that experience, either good or bad, that you felt you had to put it to use or still using it for this preparation for stage two?
Um, I would say, like, whenever we had our big wins, it was always us playing like, we know what when we're playing well, what that feels like, what that sounds like in the comms, what that looks like with our movement in the server, everything. So we just have a better understanding of this is what we need to do, guys, if we want to be a consistent top team, international winning team, a team that had a chance to win the whole tournament. And taking that into split two, I would say it raises our personal expectations more. Like we expect more out of each other. We expect more out of the team because we know what we're capable of, guys. Uh, by far the biggest takeaway. Um, competing in front of 18,000 people, there was some pressure, there was some adrenaline, and so that was a fresh experience for all of us. So we kind of learned how that felt for the first time, and That was a really nice learning experience for us to just I don't think anyone yeah, no one yet has really played in front of that kinda crowd, so I would say we have a head start in terms of the experience level on that, that we can also bring in a stage 2, so, I guess now the America's crowd won't really feel nothing anymore compared to that.
Yeah, definitely a very good insight onto how the team fared from your point of view. You mentioned a little bit about just preparing for stage two with what little time you guys had at your disposal. And you mentioned a little bit about just trying to input or include some of the new maps that are going to get into the map pool. Of course, Haven maybe a bit later on down the line, but still I gotta still gonna be looking at that. More so just on a general sense, what do you feel has been the hardest part in just trying to integrate these new changes into the team's already established game plan, in the duelist agents and everything else that I've been mentioning so far?
Yeah, I would say, we haven't really focused on Abyss at all yet just because that's like a playoff thing, and we're in a pretty tough situation to make playoffs, so we're just focused on one game at a time right now. But introducing Haven feels pretty simple for us. We've always been a strong Haven team. Back on the guard when we were in tier two, we were one of the best Haven teams in the world. I would like to humbly say, just because in scrims we were always very dominant as well and matches. Um, and so reintroducing Haven feels pretty easy for us. And we've been tweaking the comps a little bit, trying to maybe introduce ISO, introduce Neon. We've been just testing a bit, trying to see what feels comfortable for us, which is going to take some time. We're not fully there yet. But um, yeah, I would say, we have about a week left. We play Monday. So I would say it's a sufficient amount of time for us to kind of get the little nitty gritty details down about how we want to approach our comps. The more harder part is adjusting game plan or adjusting how we approach the maps that are already existing because we have obviously a lot of film on that. And so when you come back into LA and only have about 10 days, maybe less of practice, it puts a bit of pressure on us about how we're going to approach these games versus obviously some of the best teams in the world, right? They're going to be watching your footage, trying to build counters around you. So that's been the more stressful part, not really the new stuff, just because in our heads it's not that new. Like Haven, we know what to do, and Neon feels like a pretty seamless transition if we're going to go with that.
Yeah, I was about to ask him a little bit about that, just having to deal with the fact that you guys have played plenty of maps, plenty of matches and Masters, and that kind of allowed the rest of the competition in VCT Americas to kind of have plenty of footage of you guys and just having ways to counter you guys. I mean, do you feel that's going to be like a big factor behind now that the teams will be playing against you guys later on down the line, starting off against that first match in stage two, as you said, or next week?
Yeah, I would say it's just a thing in Valorant in general. I think we've seen it with Sentinels earlier this year as well. When you come back from a deep tournament run, you really don't have that much prep time going to the next split. And so, um, yeah, these teams and their coaching staffs are gonna, I would say, have a good read on us just because naturally we have a lot of footage. But we're aware of that. I'm aware of that as the IGL, so I'm obviously gonna play that into my hand as well. Um, Kind of that metagame, like, I know that you know, so I'm gonna switch something up, and once you know that I know, I'm gonna, go deeper, so I like to play those mind games with teams when they think they have me figured out. So it should be an exciting upcoming weeks of matches, and hopefully we can come out with a win in week 1, so it buys us more time to continue to adapt more things because these matches are week by week, and so we're gonna have that kinda freedom to maybe switch things up or change a comp here and there within the weeks of practice.
Sort of similar for this question compared to the previous one. More so the fact that you guys are going to be starting off with a 3-3 record from stage one, carrying over to stage two, and
Yeah.
how do you think that will kind of affect the team's just preparation, just performance, and just approach to stage two? While starting off with that instead of just starting off with a clean slate 0-0. How do you think that will change the team's approach?
Yeah, it is more pressure for us for sure. We want to get into the playoffs, and some of these teams, like Crew and C9, for example, have a pretty big lead at like 5-1, for example, while we're 3-3. So we're aware of the situation that we're put in. Um, it does kind of suck for us just because it feels like we have no room to mess up. I would say to comfortably make playoffs, we have to win all 4 of our matches. We can't really afford a loss. If we get a loss, then we have to start hoping for some people to lose, people to win. We got to start. It's out of our control. For it to be in our control, we just got to win out 4 games clean, and that's the mindset right now. And I'm expecting us to do that.
Who do you view as the toughest
You know,
opponent for G2 in the schedule?
I would say the toughest opponent for G2 is going to be Sentinels at the end. Both teams are going to have a lot of practice and match reps just because it's the last game, right? There's a lot of time that goes into it. Um, and I think they're a great team as well. So they're going to want their revenge to be on the international stage again. And I'm expecting it to be like almost a do or die game just because if the games shake out how they're expected to, then that might be the last qualifying playoff spot right there, Sen or G2. So it's going to be high pressure match that both teams want to win real bad. I'm expecting a great Sentinels, but hopefully a even better G2.
By finishing third place in Masters Shanghai, G2 are coming into this stage as the best performing America's team on the international side. So that one might also think that G2 are coming off of are coming into this as one of the best teams, or probably if not the best team in the region. How do you kind of look at the kind of perception of you guys? Having impressed in Masters and now looking to build on the momentum in stage two.
Yeah, I think it's cool that maybe people see us as one of the best teams or best performers. I think it's cool. But for us, I would say nothing really changes besides just an increase in confidence in ourselves because we had a good performance. We're making sure everyone like maintains the same level of discipline and understanding of what it takes to win. Sometimes teams with a great result maybe dip in their efforts just like even by 5%, like what is this guy doing? Like this wouldn't happen. Like I maybe a bit of ego comes, but with us, we've been trying to make sure like, hey, guys, champions is a hard task. I'm making sure that it's a hard task to achieve, but as long as we maintain the same level of efforts that we did in the first split, I'm expecting us to have a great second split as well. And on top of that, it's going to be harder for us because, like you said, these teams now respect us more. I would say we're not really the underdogs anymore. We're the team to beat almost because, yeah, we were the highest placing team in split one. So, yeah, I would say like maybe us and 100 Thieves like the team to beat right now, including Sentinels. So I know they're going to prep for us, but I'm also going to prep. So should be really good games.
No, for sure, it'll definitely be a interesting games for G2. Hopefully, you guys are able to continue this momentum from then on to now, or from that point to the future and everything else after that. Valyn, thank you so much for taking the time for doing this interview real quick. I really appreciate it. Best of luck to the team, of course, for yourself as well.
Thank you, Pedro. I appreciate it.